Trump's new executive order that is about to be signed. Well, it's supposed to be signed right now. I didn't see anything about this, but it might have just changed the $12.5 trillion retirement system forever. The majority of you watching probably have the sense that retiring is becoming harder and harder to do each year. And it seems like the Trump administration is hitting that exact point as we speak. And on a broader sense, Bitcoin as a vehicle for retirement has just went mainstream. So let's get into it. What are we talking about? And of course, I'm here with the wonderful internet Sophie. Nico has to catch a flight literally like as we speak. Actually, Sophie's going to leave as the show goes on. Oh, she's not leaving. Okay, Nico's leaving to go to Riga. Anyways, no one cares about that. Here we go. Here is the headline for today. This came out last night, but apparently there was a leak coming out that Trump is going to sign an executive order today. It was supposed to happen at noon today, Eastern time. I haven't seen anything come out of it. But as you can see from the headline, he's going to sign an order to allow cryptocurrencies into 401ks. So when you dive into it, it's not just quote unquote cryptocurrencies. It is a little more. And the phrasing they use is pretty interesting. So I'm going to break down this CNBC article. I got a couple different quotes, and then we'll kind of break this down and the bigger picture of what's going on. So here is CNBC, and it goes, the crypto markets jumped Thursday on excitement that Bitcoin and other digital assets could soon be being added to 401k retirement plans. President Trump is set to sign an executive order that would allow 401k accounts to invest in, quote, alternative assets, including private equity, real estate, and digital assets. And of course, today, people are arguing that this is why the Bitcoin price jumped back up to 116K. You could probably, argue that it's a lot of other stuff, but widespread inclusion of Bitcoin in Americans' retirement accounts has long been viewed as a holy grail for crypto adoption. Conceivably, it would make the cryptocurrency a mainstay of U.S. financial infrastructure, expand access, and encourage long-term investing in the asset. The retirement market is currently worth $43 trillion, which is absolutely huge. 401ks, I saw some different numbers. It said somewhere between like 8 trillion and 12.5 trillion. So this is a lot of capital. This is a whole new market that's being opened up. And with the trend we've basically seen in the last couple of weeks, really being spearheaded by Michael Saylor, is Bitcoin is tapping into these incredibly huge markets. For a long time, Bitcoin wasn't able to be accessed through these various different markets. And now in a short span, literally in weeks, we've seen Bitcoin, or rather different Bitcoin related products being able to tap into these various different huge $1 trillion capital pools, which is a huge move, a huge kind of turn of the page that we've seen around Bitcoin in the past couple of years, considering that we were getting attacked for so long here as Bitcoiners, as an industry. And of course, the public view of Bitcoin for forever has been, stay away from that internet nerd money. It's speculation. It's got no value. There's no intrinsic value to this thing. And now, literally in a couple of weeks, in a few months, it's gone from just simply Bitcoin and everyone else on YouTube talking about Bitcoin for retirement to now the biggest institutions, biggest capital pools acknowledging Bitcoin as a vehicle for retirement. So almost 9 trillion of that is held in 401ks. So 9 trillion of the 43 trillion. Again, I got different metrics. It's like 8 trillion, 12.5 trillion. CNBC is kind of referencing 9 trillion of that $43 trillion retirement market will go into 401k plans. And of course, we all know the Bitcoin market cap is around 2.5 trillion today. And there's a good tweet of Mike Novogratz. There was actually a clip of him on CNBC this morning talking about this, but he starts talking about Bitcoin treasury companies, and that's out of the scope of this video today. And he goes, quote, there's a monster pool of capital, and what we're seeing is the aperture of being able to buy crypto being widened, and more avenues bringing people into the tent. When it becomes commonplace, when you can do it at the place you've already been doing business with, like Fidelity or T. Rowe Price or whoever it is, you just pull more people into this ecosystem. Now, even last week, we were talking about in-kind redemptions. That's a whole new capital opening up into buying Bitcoin. Bless you. And now it seems like the retirement markets, 401ks, literally the most conservative kind of investment vehicles are starting to tap into Bitcoin, which I think is one of these kind of turning the page. This is one of those big movements. So I do have some other quotes here. I can't pull them up because of, guidelines over here, but quote, the order directs the SEC to facilitate access to alternative assets for participants directed defined contribution retirement savings plans by revising applicable regulations and guidance. And this is quoting an anonymous White House source, and this is on Reuters. And it goes on to say, many private equity firms are hungry for the new source of cash that retail investors could offer after 3 years in which high interest rates shook their time-honored model of buying companies and selling them at a profit. Whatever changes may come from Trump's order likely will not happen overnight. Again, these things take some time. Private equity, but plaintiffs' lawyers are already preparing for lawsuits that could be filled by investors who do not understand the complexity of the new forms of the investment. So you can see there is some kind of pushback here. There's still this view that Bitcoin is too risky for retirement. Obviously, for us as Bitcoiners on Simply Bitcoin, you guys in the chat, we look at it the other way. It's too risky to hold anything but Bitcoin for retirement. This is the only thing that's going to last for the test of time. It's going to go up in value. Everything else is going to get debased. And again, quoting Bloomberg here, we have the order will direct the Labor Department to reevaluate guidance around alternative asset investments and retirement plans subject to the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. And the department will also be tasked with clarifying the government's position on the fiduciary responsibilities associated with offering asset allocation funds that include alternate holdings. And then one more quote here, opening 401k to private market products would offer savers more investment options, and proponents argue greater potential upside, but with that comes, of course, greater risk and higher fees that might leave retirement plan administrators vulnerable to lawsuits. So you can see a lot of the moves we're seeing right now is not just for kind of giving a tacit approval of Bitcoin. It's not so much them just bending the knee to the ideological backings of Bitcoin. It's really what we say all the time. Look, for better or worse, the gains of Bitcoin bring people into the space. And if you look at what Bitcoin's done the last 16 years, maybe you could argue just the last 15 years, or even further, just the last 5 years, it's been the best performing thing, period. And now with Trump essentially saying we're going to be, as America, we're going to be the Bitcoin superpower of the world. The floodgates are opening up. We're starting to see the regulatory environment start to be a little more favorable. We're seeing a lot of change happen at the SEC. We're seeing institutions tentatively dip their toes into Bitcoin, at the very least, kind of acknowledging, hey, we need to have some clear rules of the road here. We need to understand if we can actually move capital into this market. And now all of those basically red flags, all of the red tape has been cleared around Bitcoin. And it really starts to make you think that this price can't be at 115K for very long. Now, I did kind of break this down a little bit, just kind of thinking through what this all means. Essentially, the short of it is Trump is opening up the floodgates. And I have a good tweet from Stackholdler here that I'm after I lay out kind of the significance of this, that I think is really going to kind of paint the picture of what is actually going on. And before I do that, I have been calling it the Billionaire FUD Playbook. Well, we have a kind of maybe a new play, the Billionaire Pack Their Bags Playbook. This is where we are. So anyways, you can think of this as Bitcoin going institutional. Now, I know we've been saying this in Bitcoin for a long time. The institutions are coming. And recently, a lot of Bitcoiners are maybe feeling a little queasy here because Wall Street's entering our ecosystem. Institutions are embracing Bitcoin. You're starting to see Bitcoin treasuries come into the space, acquire a bunch of Bitcoin. And a lot of people have been kind of arguing that Bitcoin is losing its cypherpunk roots, that, hey, man, why are all Bitcoiners cheering on the institutions? I thought this was the separation of money and state. Guys, I think this was how Bitcoin was going to take over the world eventually. Yes, we've had the idea that it was going to happen on a grassroots level, just individuals stacking Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin isn't able to tap into these huge capital markets, then it was always going to be relegated to the fringe. Now we have the vehicles for Bitcoin to tap into these markets.
Accelerate.
Yeah, hyper acceleration. And then, of course, like I said earlier, this is a stamp of approval as Bitcoin being a legitimate retirement asset. We've been talking about this for a long time on our show. You guys used to troll us because we did the How Much Bitcoin to Retire show basically every other day on this show for a little bit. But this is also kind of in a roundabout way, a way of the federal government or these institutions in Wall Street, everyone that has some capital, essentially saying, Bitcoin is a long-term store of value. You can put your capital into Bitcoin. You can put your life savings into Bitcoin, and it's going to be here for a while. It's no longer just a speculative play. And we've been seeing this kind of change in real time around here at Simply Bitcoin, considering that we cover the news constantly. And now Bitcoin very clearly is competing with stocks, bonds, and real estate inside of the most conservative and the biggest pools of capital and retirement plans. It's a huge move here. And then, of course, the whole regulatory take around this. We just got out of an administration, at least here in the U.S., that was actively hostile against Bitcoin. And now we have one that is, for lack of better terms, very much shilling Bitcoin. They are going full force behind Bitcoin. And then the last thing is really, this is institutions having to adapt. They have to bend the knee now. No longer can they get away with like what the Vanguard CEO said when the ETFs launched a year ago. Oh, we don't want anything to do with this. It's very clear they have to adapt or get left behind. From everything we're seeing here, whether it's the institutions embracing Bitcoin, whether it's corporate treasuries buying $1 billion of Bitcoin, whether it's the US and nation state game theory playing out, this is a bullish signal now that retirement funds, and then that might sound scary to a lot of people, like, oh, you're going to put my retirements into a speculative vehicle here. Well, guys, that's what your bank does anyways. This is what they do anyways. And from our perspective, this is the safest thing to be holding long term. But this is another bullish signal coming through from the pipeline, showing us, hey, Bitcoin is here to stay. It's going to very quickly take over the world. If you aren't adapting to this new paradigm, you are going to be left behind. And if you're a young guy, I don't have a 401k, so I don't really even know how 401ks work. I just know they're for retirement. Bitcoin is my retirement here. And now all that capital can go in. And actually, before we go on even further, Sophie, let's tell the people the story of your dad talking about this, which is what we were talking about earlier. It's like the boomers are getting the signal.
Yeah, so my dad sent me a picture of the TV today. CNBC, President Trump expected to sign executive order today, includes private equity, cryptocurrencies, and real estate. And he's so excited. I told him to tune into the show today, as well as my mom. Shout out, mommy and papi. And that's when like when this starts to become legitimized in the eyes of boomers, who are the people who are holding the majority of our wealth, you're going to see a major wealth transfer from these assets to Bitcoin, because they're going to start realizing that the returns on these rental properties, the returns on these bonds are just like, they're not giving. They're really not like doing anything for them. And these people want big bags, okay? Like, they're used to living large. They're used to the 80s where bigger was bigger, and they are anxious. They're wondering, they're like, wow, like, why isn't the thing that I was doing for the last 30 years working anymore? And it's because we have this new asset, this new form of technology. And let's be real, boomers and Gen X, not the best with technology, but when they have the incentive, when they have something that is 2, 3, 4, 10xing, they are going to learn very quickly. And I'm just excited that, the lead boomer, President Trump, is just like spearheading this movement. The executive order honestly feels like a gun for a beautiful Q4. I think that all of the stars are aligning for us to have an extremely bullish end of the cycle. And, the bearishness is kind of wearing off. Like, I'm waking up from hibernation now and I'm suddenly becoming a farmer because, hello, I'm becoming a bull. They're going to be printing more money. They're going to be They're gonna be buying all of the Bitcoin. These paper Bitcoin institutions, they're gonna have to figure out a way to buy Bitcoin. Coinbase is buying more Bitcoin because they're realizing, dang, the supply is really, really low. And at some point, all these people are gonna want to cash in at the end of this cycle. So I would hold on real tight because we're about to go to the moon.
Yeah, and you said something. I mean, that story of your dad. I was also telling Sophie, like, I love when my dad sends me pictures of the Wall Street Journal talking about Bitcoin, and that they were, at first it was like once every couple of weeks, and then they kind of sped up. And what your dad said in talking about it, it really reminds me, or really kind of just like makes it very clear that we are in the middle of a paradigm shift. This isn't just like a trickle of adoption, or rather, mainstream conversation around Bitcoin. This is a fundamental shift of what's happening in the space. And maybe you have, some reservations about it, which is, I think, very healthy for us to have. But this is just showing like there is a fundamental, or rather a huge shift happening, a seismic shock that is happening around Bitcoin. And it's hard not to get bullish around what is happening right now. Of course, as Nico's been saying, it might be the most bullish news cycle around Bitcoin, but the price maybe is a little lackluster. I don't know. I had conversations with Checkmatey last night, and he's like, dude, just where are you even getting the game? Like, what chart are you looking at? Where are you kind of looking at that is telling you this isn't a bullish cycle? I think we're up, depending on what bottom you're talking about, we're up like 5-6x from the 2022 bottom. Maybe it's not a parabolic blow off top, but it's still bullish.
I think that we're just we want more. We expect more because we see the potential. And when you see the potential, it just like there's like this cognitive dissonance in your mind that like begs the question, why isn't the price higher if this and this and that and whatever are happening, especially everything that's happening in the news cycle? How is it not at $1 million right now? But whatever, I digress. I'm not the one in charge of the money printer or the price of Bitcoin. And I think that, at the end of the day, the price has been good to us. Has it been as good as previous cycles? Probably not. But you know what they say, you buy Bitcoin at the price that you deserve. And the early adopters, the first adopters are the ones who are most reaping the benefits. So it is what it is.
Hey, it is what it is. So I think the real bombshell take here, though, is not so much that just retirement accounts are going, 401ks are going to be able to get capital into Bitcoin. It really reminds me, and again, guys, I've been telling you, I've been going down this like Mark Moss, Mar-a-Lago, Accord rabbit hole recently. Tom Luongo has been kind of talking about it for a while. But Stack Hodler. Wow, I can't speak. This magnesium L-threonate's not working anymore. Anyways, he kind of pinned, I think, what is going on here, and it goes to the idea of Scott Bessent and Donald Trump and Howard Lutnick, all people in the Trump administration. I think we're underestimating just how high they want this Bitcoin price to go. So I'm going to read that tweet here, and putting some dots together here for us. This is like the most bullish take of this. So Stack Hodler on Twitter goes, look, Trump family, of course, the Trump media group, filled their bags with over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. And given everything we know about Trump, is he one to pass up the opportunity to use his power to cement his family's financial status for generations? POTUS is now incentivized to send Bitcoin to $1 million per coin and beyond. Unleashing 401k plans to stack Bitcoin is just stage one. And it really is. I think it do be like that. Like, from what we're seeing, the Trump administration, they obviously used the Bitcoin industry or the crypto industry at large to secure their spot. Of course, many of their running campaign promises were surrounding Bitcoin, ending Operation Choke Point 2.0. releasing and pardoning Ross Ulbricht. And then, of course, you know, the Digital Asset Working Group getting, you know, Bitcoin or America to become the Bitcoin superpower of the world. And then the one promise that he hasn't fulfilled yet is 150K early in his presidential run or, you know, term, which, again, we don't know what early really means. But we've been seeing this kind of move play out for a while. Again, I said it a minute ago. I used to call it the billionaire FUD playbook. We've seen Jamie Dimon do this constantly. You FUD Bitcoin, you say, hey, I don't like this Bitcoin thing. And then you stack your bags, you know, you silently accumulate, you silently acquire Bitcoin. And then once you kind of have your position, you go out there and you say, hey, this Bitcoin thing's not that bad. I will let my customers buy this Bitcoin thing. I'm not a believer in this Bitcoin thing. I like blockchain and maybe stable coins, but it's okay if you want to buy it. Now I think we've kind of gone into a more bull-tarded environment where we have Trump projecting and telegraphing what he's going to do. He's like, we're going to make Bitcoin the global superpower, or America the global superpower of the world in Bitcoin. He's been talking about creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve, talking about clear regulations here. And then his media group, which he has like the majority stake in it, follows a Sailor strategy copycat, buys $2 billion. And now he's like, you know what? What's one more thing I can do? Unleash trillions of dollars of capital to get into Bitcoin. I'm really not even mad about this. And I'm really kind of like, okay, Daddy Trump, pump our bags, okay? Hey, we're not huge. I'm not a magatard here like Nico, but pump our bags.
Apparently, even Janet Yellen is like vying for Jay Powell to print that money. And I think he's getting very close. I think that he's kind of getting to the point where it's like resign or print the money. So,
well, we're seeing a few different things. So Janet Yellen, of course, came out yesterday, I believe it was, and she did say the exact same thing that Trump and Lummis have been saying, that Jerome Powell needs to cut interest rates. And then I believe there was another insider, I don't have the source, it came out kind of anonymous, that we are going to see 3 rate cuts starting in September. And the poly market odds on that, which of course doesn't necessarily relate to like what is actually happening, but they are trending really high. So if that is the case, if we do get 3 interest rate cuts back to back starting in September, the free money is going to flow. And anytime we have low interest rates, the liquidity expands, you know, debt goes up, people start to take out more loans. That's always going to find a way into Bitcoin. With lower interest rates, with the dollar weakening, that's like the most bullish setup we can have for the end of the year. So it's looking really, really good. Now, I do want to say something I forgot to mention earlier. With this executive order that Trump is talking about allowing 401ks to invest in Bitcoin, this will have to happen on a like per company basis. So it's not like now all of the 401ks are mandated to buy Bitcoin. It's going to be up to the people that are issuing the 401ks, or, you know, like, so it's not, it's,
but this means that now like
they
those companies, it not only they can, they have to compete with each other. Like, and what are these companies going to naturally want to do when they see companies that are giving their pensioners a higher return? They're going to say, damn, like we should probably like get on that Bitcoin standard. It's probably actually a good thing, and we can also benefit from this. And also, I should probably buy my family some Bitcoin and put it into self-custody. What's happening? And then all of a sudden, you become a believer, because we are greedy human beings and we are led by our incentives. And once people see the results, the proof is in the pudding, and people make moves. That's just like the nature of the economy, right? Like the invisible hand or whatever. That this is like the orange hand, and it's slapping you across the face, telling you buy some more Bitcoin. put it into self-custody. Damn, the coffee this morning was good, bro.
Yo, there's a lot of things I could make some jokes on there, Selfie, but we're gonna keep it.
Keep it appropriate.
Yeah, we gotta keep it appropriate.
We're gonna get kicked off of.
There was a lot of
because
crazy ayo moments in that last two sentences there, but anyways, we're not gonna talk about that. We do have a great show for you guys. So we have some other interesting news coming out of the Federal Reserve, which is really kind of going down what Senator Lummis has been saying around the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And then Matt Hogan of Bitwise just doubling down on the global game theory, the nation state game theory going on right now. And in the end of the show, we're going to get a little bullish. Hash rate is going nuclear. And if you know, you know. And so I'll leave it at that. On that note, guys, I do want to remind you to, of course, smash the like button. Comment on the show. Well, actually, so if maybe we drop a poll, are we going to hit 250K this year? And then, of course, hit subscribe button. If you love Sophie and you want to see her create more content and not be, dragged down by someone with a 42 IQ like myself, hit the subscribe button to Simply Bitcoin. We have the best content creators in the game, and we drop the most content. Dante, Rustin, Selfie, Oceans. And then you're stuck with us here, me and Nico, on the live show.
The mediocre content. I'm kidding. You guys carry this whole entire channel on your backs, and we love you.
We get no respect out here. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. On that note, I do want to give a huge shout out to our boys over at Bitcoin Well. Go to bitcoinwell.com/simplybtc. Make sure you're buying real Bitcoin, and make sure you use an exchange that can literally never lose your Bitcoin. And what do I mean by that? They are self-custody by default. So all the money you get to them, all the fiat you give them, they will send you Bitcoin directly into your cold storage. They have never lost Bitcoin. They will never lose Bitcoin in the future because they never hold your Bitcoin. Once your money clears, it gets sent directly to you guys into your cold storage. That does mean you need a Bitcoin wallet to sign up with them. And of course, when you sign up, scan the QR code here, and you get 3 chances in the Bitcoin wishing well to win 1 million sats, which I think that's what, like $1,100 right now? That's so crazy. And of course, if you are by chance, someone with some deep bag still sitting on the sideline, and you're like, okay, this really low IQ guy and this pretty girl are really making some sense, and maybe I need to get more of my money into Bitcoin. Go get in touch with the Bitcoin Well Infinite team, and you can buy $50,000 of Bitcoin right now. Smash buy over the counter with 50,000 or more, and they will give you that white glove service. So if you've never done a Bitcoin transaction, they will make sure that you do this correctly and do not rug pull yourself. All right, here we go. Let's keep it moving.
I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stamp Seed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water. They put a blowtorch to it. And as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today.
All right, guys, we're over here on Clark Moody's dashboard. And of course, the current Bitcoin price is 116,240, which is a measly decline of a negative 5.5% from all-time high. We're currently at block height of 909,048. Again, 909,048. And the market cap in fiat terms is $2.31 trillion. There's still a lot of room to run, guys. Anyways, let's keep it moving. Oh, my computer is reacting here. Anyways, we got this clip here from Matt Hogan. He is the CIO of Bitwise, of course, a Bitcoin fund. He's been doing some great work recently. I think in the since Trump kind of came out pro Bitcoin, he has just gone super bull-tard, and I absolutely love it. I love when very eloquent older gentlemen are able to shill Bitcoin. It makes us look good. It makes us look less low intelligent over here on Simply Bitcoin, because we say the same thing. We just don't say it nice and wearing a suit. But let's hear what he's saying here, and we'll chat about it.
I think it's the same growth curve, just at different phases. It's an exponential growth curve. It's just that the sort of bank wirehouse institutional curve is so far down that now the doubling is very visible, right? Like we've seen a steady acceleration. We're past the hockey stick point. I think nation states are moving in that direction, right? It's not just El Salvador now. We had Pakistan a little while ago. We have Bitwise is talking to multiple sovereigns. We had Abu Dhabi. We've had a few others. I think it's moving in the right direction. We're just earlier in the doubling phase. But look, I think if the U.S. actually buys Bitcoin, I can't imagine what that does to the price, or to the game theory of other countries moving into the space. I think it would be. I don't think that's priced into the market at all.
This is what is happening in real time. Yes, we are still kind of in the dark in regards to why the U.S. either hasn't told us how much Bitcoin they have, or whether they are still accumulating. It seems like they are kind of laying out the regulations, the clarity that is needed for them to be able to stack Bitcoin in a, quote, budget neutral way. But just the very impact of them telegraphing they're going to buy Bitcoin is obviously making waves. And I think doubled that to what we just heard about 401ks, ETF in-kind redemptions going live or actually being possible. You're starting to see around the world that countries can no longer really have the effect that they used to have. I mean, everyone saw over the weekend there was the fake news story of China banning Bitcoin again, and the market was just like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, the U.S. is embracing it. If you don't like it anymore, that's cool. Back then, when they banned Bitcoin, it actually made an impact on the market, and now it's like, okay, look, China is banning it. That's cool. America's embracing it. And now, as Matt Hogan said, he's literally said verbatim, we are in conversations with multiple nation states talking about acquiring Bitcoin. And of course, this is no longer the flavor of the month here, but for a couple of months, it was always a new announcement of a country either talking about doing a strategic Bitcoin reserve, or passing a bill, or introducing a bill to do a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now I think the conversations are becoming a little more serious. You're starting to see it's no longer really just a, should we do this? It's like, how can we actually do this? And how can we make this happen without us basically ruining our reputation? And so he said, personally, I've had these conversations and they're taking it very seriously. And now, if the U.S. does come out, I don't know, end of year, maybe the beginning of next year, and say, yeah, hey, we are acquiring Bitcoin, I think that is when all our models are broken and things are going to get absolutely crazy. Anyway, Soph, you're the nation state expert over here. So what's your thoughts on this?
I mean, as evidenced by last cycle, who cares what China's going to do? Like, we're the USA, baby. Like, we don't care what China's going to do. In fact, they're going to do everything in their power to compete with us. We start buying Bitcoin, they're going to start buying Bitcoin. Russia's going to start buying Bitcoin. Everyone's going to start buying Bitcoin around the world, because the reality is that everybody else's currency depends on the US dollar, and whatever the US does financially, they're just going to follow in lockstep. And that's kind of that's it. It used to matter because, you know, the US wasn't even in the conversation, but America has entered the chat, guys. And there's just like nobody like at this point we're just waiting. We're waiting very patiently for the money printer to rip and for Trump to be like, I am going to buy some Bitcoin because it is the right thing to do for our economy. And that is what I promised when I said I would make America great again. And, you know, South Park's going to talk about it, and we're going to be a great nation that is united because of it.
Bars. I love this is totally off topic here, guys, but I love that Sophie speaks even more Zoomer than I do on the show. Like, I thought I spoke in memes. Sophie just speaks in just straight.
It's really coming
Zoomer
out today.
talk.
It's
It
just
really
it's
is.
really coming out today. I spent a considerable amount of time on Twitter this morning, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, one on that note, before we kind of go back to the real conversation, you know, as I've been telling you, Soph, you got to get the cringe out first, and then the real personality comes out. And you're seeing Sophie's getting more comfortable on cam, guys. So she's the superstar in the making. What's it?
I just don't care anymore.
The Lady
Because
Gaga. A
numbers
Star is
going
Born.
up.
A Star is Born.
I just don't care anymore because numbers going to go up. I mean, everything is lining up. Everything is lining up. There is no way that, like, do you understand? In the previous cycles, we 10x'd and we weren't even talking about 401k. Like, if you would have told me this the previous cycle, I would have never believed it. We were prehistorically early, and we're still early. Like, that's the thing. We're still early, but like before we were prehistorically early. Like, we were the dinosaurs, all right? And like now they're like starting to find the fossils and being like, "Oh, maybe these people were right. Maybe we should buy some Bitcoin." And you know, now we're here. Maybe we're like in Jesus times right now, in like year 0 of Bitcoin, when people are actually starting to legitimately take it seriously. But we still have such a long way to go, because until the US actually starts buying Bitcoin, it's like this guy said, that's not even priced in yet. What happens when Apple starts accepting Bitcoin, or Amazon starts accepting Bitcoin, or your landlord or local water supply and, you know, municipals, you can start paying your bills in Bitcoin. Commercial, like, institutions are going to start accepting Bitcoin. That's when like your local mom and pop shop start opting out of the fiat monetary system. And when that starts happening, well, the IRS is in big trouble.
Okay, all right. I forgot I need to reel in Sophie sometimes. But Sophie, you made a great point, and the chat's loving you. They're literally saying Soph's aura farming like a champ on the show today. But Mr. B made a. This is like the main point here, guys. Like, they are projecting what they're going to do. If you are selling your Bitcoin right now, like, what are you even watching? Mr. B goes, they're telling us plebs to pack our bags before government pumps our bags. How many more signs do you need? This is like the clearest thing going on right now. And I know our audience isn't entirely just Americans. And so there are people in the chat that's like, oh, America isn't that great. Like, hey, we're Americans here. We're proud of where we come from. We love our country.
Look, yes, we are. We are that great.
But,
actually, we're that girl.
Yeah.
America's that girl.
Oh man, Soph, you're great. But America is, there's debate whether it's China or America, but America leads the world financially. And so what we do here financially is going to, for lack of a better term, set the precedent around the world. And when we make a move, everyone has to take it seriously. They have to look at it and be like, all right, well, they just did it. We should probably do it. And this is like what we're seeing. It's a very clear signal right now of what's going on. They're telling you, hey, you should probably buy some Bitcoin. We're going to pump this. And yet there's still people out there that are like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that best performing asset the last 15 years. That's dumb. I don't want to speculate on stuff. You're like, what are you guys looking at? Everything's a speculation if you are in fiat land. And here we are just chilling with our stable coin that is Bitcoin at 115K, really mad because our dopamine's fried and we're not getting a pump anymore. They're going to pump it. It's got to pump. It's going to happen sooner than later. Anyways.
Or
maybe
they stall the price until they, print enough liquidity to buy the Bitcoin. I mean, that might be why we're going sideways. There might be some sort of like government manipulation here on the price. We don't know. We don't know what the government does. We're actually like finding out every single day that we've been lied to every single day. So we don't know. And my prediction is that they know what's going on. They know that this is the only way to break out of debt and stay in power. They know that this is the most scarce asset in the face of the planet Earth. And they know that if they don't front run other countries in purchasing Bitcoin, they're going to get left behind. Empires come and go. And there's been a lot of speculation, comparisons to the Roman Empire here and the decline of the Roman Empire in the United States. I don't think that, the smartest people in government aren't aware of that. I think that they know, and they're doing everything that they can. And maybe some of them are aware to the fact that Bitcoin is their only way out of this decline. And, one can only hope. And if they don't realize it, you've realized it. You've bought Bitcoin. You've put it into self-custody. And that's kind of like the only the best way that you can, save yourself from all of this. So even if the US doesn't adopt it, which they will, but even if they didn't, we're still good. So it is what it is.
Yeah, 100%. And if you are watching if you're watching right after you take a nap, the writing's on the wall. They're telling you the quiet part out loud. You should probably be buying Bitcoin. And it is super interesting just how much people fight that idea when it's like, this is here to benefit you. This is here to help your life. And yet, it could stare you straight in the face and people don't want to touch it. It's absolutely insane. Just buy some Bitcoin, put it in cold storage and chill. Okay. On that note, let's get into this interesting news coming out of the Fed.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store.
All right, guys, we're plugging Sat123 today. Nico's over here leaving. I was watching World War Z last night or 2 nights ago, and I was watching it, and I don't know if you guys seen World War III or World War Z in a while, but they were literally using an Iridium Sat123 phone, and I text Nico, I'm like, bro, they're using a Iridium phone. It's like the fundamental hinge of the movie is the satellite phone. So if you think we're going into a zombie apocalypse, World War Z told you that you need to get a Sat123 phone.
And you're also going to need this to, protect all of your electronics, aka your cold wallet, from the apocalypse. So make sure to get all the things.
Apocalypse.
If this could make it through the aliens,
no, it's zombies.
oh, they're zombies. I
What
haven't
was
seen
it?
that. I haven't seen that.
All right, you're off. You're cut.
Bye.
She's officially fired. Okay, let's get to this, guys. This is absolutely crazy. So there was a Fed note that was dropped. This is, of course, federalreserve.gov. And as you can see here on the video and for the audio listeners, the headline is Official Reserve Revaluations, the International Experience. Very interesting that they're talking about revaluating the gold. So I highlighted a few portions here. And then there's a very interesting note here, interesting footnote to this official Fed note. Anyways, it goes, with public debt at high levels, some governments have begun to explore financing additional expenditures with raising taxes while also not increasing public debt outstanding. One possibility is using proceeds from valuation gains on gold reserves, as had been floated in the U.S. and Belgium recently. For the U.S., this would involve revaluating the government's 261.5 million troy ounces in gold reserves, the largest gold reserves globally, from a statutory price of 42.22 per troy ounce. You heard that right there. The U.S.'s gold reserves are priced at $42 per ounce to current market prices, which stand around $3,300 per troy ounce. This note reviews the rare cases when countries used proceeds from valuation gains on gold and foreign exchange reserves. Central banks have used revaluation proceeds to offset operating losses and maintain net profits or minimize reported net losses. Central governments have drawn on reevaluation proceeds to retire existing debt, often in exceptional fiscal circumstances. While reducing the debt stock using revaluation proceeds improves the physical situation at the margin, drawing on revaluation proceeds may not address larger structural challenges. So, Bitcoiners have been saying this for a long time, that, hey, if the Fed, wants to do some budget neutral ways to accumulate Bitcoin, maybe they just reevaluate the gold prices to market prices of today instead of what it's been stuck for the last, 50, 60 years here. It's actually probably longer than that. That's an easy way for them to, quote unquote, have a budget neutral way to stack Bitcoin. Now, official Fed note coming out about doing it, which is very interesting because look at what this footnote is here. And the rest of this is kind of examples around the world of central banks that have done this and their impact and what they've done and whether it was a good thing or a bad thing for them long term. But again, looking at the footnotes here, look at this one funny little footnote here. We have footnote 1. In the U.S., the idea has come up in the context of helping to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve or a sovereign wealth fund, and use the revaluation proceeds was proposed in recent legislation by Senator Lummis. In Belgium, the press reporting the governing coalition was considering financing additional spending partly through monetization of some of the National Bank of Belgium's gold reserves, with the National Bank of Belgium commenting on the idea in a recent press release. So they are literally quoting Senator Lummis, the Bitcoin senator, about revaluating the gold and buying Bitcoin as something that's been proposed. And here's a screenshot. The secretary shall issue new gold certificates to the Federal Reserve Bank that reflect the fair market value price of the gold held against such certificates by the Treasury. And upon issue by the secretary, each Federal Reserve Bank that receives a new gold certificate, yada, 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 will deposit the funds. And of course, this is the Bitcoin Act, where they would use that money to buy Bitcoin in the strategic Bitcoin reserve. So, guys, again, I think we said this yesterday. If you meme it, it will happen. We have literally memed this into the Federal Reserve. They are, well, I was going to say they're going to reevaluate their gold holdings and buy Bitcoin with it. I think Pierre Rochard was like the first one I saw that talked about this. Now they're literally talking about this from their own website, the official government website. They are adding Senator Lummis in the footnotes here about talking about this, proposing this. I don't know, guys. From every angle I'm seeing, it looks like every institution is bending the knee. They're all like, maybe maybe we shouldn't fight this Bitcoin thing, and that's like the real signal here.
Can I?
They are begrudgingly bending the knee to Bitcoin.
Can I be a party pooper?
Be
for
a party
little bit?
pooper.
What if they're doing this because they're terrified of Fort Knox getting audited?
Literally what someone said. Fort Knox is definitely empty.
Yeah, no, facts, like big facts. They're like, look, if we just reevaluate the gold, then nobody will ask any questions. At the end of the day, I don't trust the government's incentives. I think they're just going to print the money and use that. Like, why would they have to reevaluate, do all that? That's a lot of work. Like, that's a lot of like paperwork and accounting, and just like it's messy. And they like the government doesn't have time to like do all of that stuff, especially not well, because they don't do anything well. I think that they are literally just going to print money and like say, oh, we have it in gold. But like in reality, they don't have any of the gold. Fort Knox is super like that shit's a tomb. Sorry. I know we're not supposed to curse, but yeah, it's great. Like, it's a great narrative. It's a great loophole. I love that this is the story that they're going to sell to the press. I think it's definitely going to be a way to keep all of the non-believers and anti-Bitcoiners at bay. But ultimately, like, let's be so for real. Like, they're just going to print money and buy Bitcoin.
And that's when it's game over. That's totally when it's game over.
I mean, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it because like that's what we do anyway. So let's actually print money for the right reasons, right?
Well, preferably we don't print money, but hey, if you're gonna print money, at least pump our bags.
If we're going
directly.
no, here's the thing. If we're gonna print money for the purposes of buying Bitcoin, I'm cool with that. If we're gonna print money for the purposes of fighting wars that have absolutely nothing to do with us, then I'm not cool with that. You know, like for all of the reasons that we've been printing money, like no, that's a terrible reason to print money. But if you're going to do it, at least do it to buy the hardest asset the world has ever seen, you know, and actually like perhaps maybe do something good for our country instead of, you know, the rest of the world for once.
Yeah.
Maybe lower the deficit. Maybe.
They won't ever do that.
It would be nice.
It would be nice.
It would be nice.
It would be nice. But yeah, it does make you wonder what's going. Wait, guys, whatever happened to the Fort Knox audit in the first place? Now they're like, let's just revalue the golds.
They were never gonna do that. Oh my god! Whoever believed that they were gonna do that probably still believes that they're releasing certain documents.
Yeah, come on, Sophie.
Certain documents.
Sophie is base. She's almost too base to be on YouTube, but we're working through it, guys.
I'm censoring myself, okay? Like, I'm being very well behaved.
Now you're talking crazy, Sophie. Okay. Yeah. What's going on with that gold? Who knows? Anyways, let's keep.
Schiff has it.
Peter
Schiff is like the ultimate like crypt keeper of all of the gold, and that's why he defends it with his life.
Yeah. I mean, dude, can we find Peter Schiff's real-time response to this? Let me see if I can find
Has anyone checked on Peter Schiff? Is he okay?
Is he okay? Let's see if he responded anything to this, and then I'll move on and we'll wrap up the show with some bullish stuff here.
No, see, he's only talked about Apple.
Yeah, he's not talking about
bunch of nonsense.
Interesting.
Peter Schiff, you need to start watching Simply Bitcoin, man.
Let's see.
Get in the chat.
Let's see. It doesn't seem like he has talked about this. It's very interesting how selective conversations go on with Peter Schiff here. Talk about revaluing the gold, which he probably would be okay with. I'm pretty sure he's talked about that in the past, but it doesn't look like. Oh, he did say this though. A Bitcoin strategic reserve would be the ultimate taxpayer boondoggle.
Boondoggle. Damn, that's a boomer ass word.
Worse than the 2008 bank bailouts, leaving the American public as involuntary bag holders in the Bitcoin pyramid scheme would be a new low in American politics that confirms our founding fathers' worst fear. Love it. You know, at least he's consistent. At least he's totally consistent. I'm. You know, I kind of.
I just want to know what he's gonna say about revaluating gold.
Yeah, he didn't.
He's gonna say it's a great thing. Selling it though, I don't know about that. I'm calling it right now.
He didn't say anything about it. So selective conversations here. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, guys, let's end the show with some bullish stuff, some bullish takes.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at HIVEDigitalTech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitcoinBend.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Bend's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank, and you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys, tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth, and join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to BitcoinBend.io, join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right. I'm still kind of shook. I don't even know what boondoggle is, to be honest.
Shout out to the chat. We are on fire today. If you guys like the show, smash the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe if you're not subscribed yet.
Let's go. She's a professional. You can tell she's Nico's wife here. Professional shiller. Anyways,
listen.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, guys. So we haven't really brought up hash rate for a while, and shouts out to our boy Matthew J. He's been telling us he's been working and stuff, so hasn't been in the chat with you guys constantly, but he was screaming at the rooftops all of last year, or maybe it was the beginning of this year. I forget. Time's a blur here. But he kept saying we're going to 1 exahash, bro. 1 zeta hash. And he's like, it's going to happen this year. 1 zeta hash, which is 1,000 terahashes here. And you can see we haven't technically gotten to the 1 zeta hash point here, but we are at all-time highs. And it says 900, and the 7-day moving average of the hash rate is 958 terahashes. So we are, seemingly knocking on the door of 1 zeta hash, all-time high.
You're talking Chinese.
I know.
What does all of this mean?
I know. This is the energy backing the Bitcoin network. This is the amount of Bitcoin miners that are getting pushed on the network. Now, I'm not really going to talk about the hash rate here. So you could Google what the hash rate is.
Oh no. I know what it is, but what
this is my next point.
What is this? What is happening?
This is the next point. Why am I bringing this up? That's the real question. It's not just that hash rate's going to all-time high. It's not just that, more huge mining companies are coming into the space. It's not that just that the Trumps are embracing mining. It's not that the global game theory around Bitcoin mining is going absolutely nuclear right now. There has been a lot of rumors of even like Russia kind of embracing even more so around Bitcoin mining. We're seeing there's conversations around the world of more government sanctioned mining operations. That's not what we're talking about here. This is purely just about hash rate going to all-time highs. And it reminded me of Max Kaiser, what he always says, that price tells you very little and hash rate tells you everything. And it really goes into the conversation of, you know, does hash follow price or does price follow hash rate? And as Kaiser keeps saying forever, it is price that follows hash rate. So hash rate's going to all-time high, which just means that Bitcoin is going to continue to go to all-time high. That is my take. That's my official take here. We'll go back here. Just look at this, guys. It's going parabolic. It must be really hard out there for the pleb miners, the everyday miner right now, unless you have very cheap electricity. It's probably hard to compete. But what do the miners know is the real question. If we are seeing more and more hash rate join the network, that obviously means that the Bitcoin price has to start ripping. And let me look at something over here. Oh, wrong one. I have a chart here. Shouts out to my boy Capriol Investment. Actually, he's not really my boy, but I really like his work. He has this chart here, which is Bitcoin production cost, the cost of production of Bitcoin. And you can see we are very clearly going over these clouds. So the cost production of a Bitcoin right now is, I believe, $74,000 per Bitcoin. And with hash rate keep going up, I think that is going to continue to go up. Anyways, all that's to say, Soph, is the price is going to rip.
Do you think that this means that more like regular people are going to start mining? Because as the price of Bitcoin goes up, maybe people feel that they can't afford Bitcoin or whatever. You know, there's like this huge misinterpretation that you have to buy a whole entire Bitcoin. They're like, oh, I'm going to get into mining instead. Does that mean that like maybe more people will get into it and that will increase the hash rate or something? Like, why is the hash rate going up as the price is going up? Wouldn't that technically...
This is what Chef Tommy just said. Incentives motivate miners. Price is determined by the buying. So as the price goes up, more people do kind of enter the mining space because, of course, they get Bitcoin, quote unquote, cheaper. Will it incentivize new people to come into the mining space? Thinking they could get a better return. Yes, that's usually what happens historically, but I think what we're seeing right now is kind of similar to what we're seeing with the Bitcoin treasury strategies. Like, if you're not a big guy right now, if you don't have, thousands or tens of thousands of ASICs to put on and deploy with like extremely low energy costs, and I'm talking like sub 2 cent per kilowatt energy.
Venezuela prices.
Yeah, like basically free energy right now. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to compete with these big mining operations. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't reasons to do Bitcoin mining. And the main one is probably, get some KYC free Bitcoin here, and you do get it at a lower price. But if you are coming into the space and you think you're going to, deploy tens of thousands of ASICs and you're going to get so much Bitcoin at a cheaper price, like you might be kind of in for a rude awakening here. I had a lot of friends in 2017, 2018, 2020 that they did that exact thing, and most of them got wrecked. And so, if you want to buy an ASIC, add to, the quote decentralization of the network, then you can deploy something with like SAS mining. If you want some KYC free sats, again, you can deploy something with SAS mining. Or if you just want a kind of a science experiment at home and, break out a tube through your house and, exhaust some air and do some electrical engineering.
Those are the good old days.
Yeah, Sophie was there when Nico was doing that. Then you can do that. But if you think you're going to deploy your own mining farm from literally 0 to 1, I probably wouldn't recommend doing that, guys. Just buy Bitcoin straight. But what it shows is there is a lot of interest in Bitcoin as a secure long-term thing. And so the more the hash rate goes up, the more you can kind of say like the infrastructure around Bitcoin is being invested more into. And with that comes that like this industry grows and the price is going to start ripping. So maybe in the chat, does hash rate follow price? Does price follow hash rate? What's your thoughts? And then we'll wrap up today's show. I know we got a little nerdy at the end here.
Look,
but...
I think instead of graphs touching each other, we should all go touch some grass. And
damn,
what better way to do that than getting on the Orange Pill app and connecting with all of your favorite Bitcoiners? If you're not on the Orange Pill app today, I think you should totally download it because who wants to be friends with normies nowadays? You want to be friends with like-minded individuals, people who are stacking sats. So go stack some friends like you stack your sats on the Orange Pill app.
It's just such a pro. Such a pro. Price follows hash rate. Yes, everyone knows. Everyone knows it. Price follows hash rate. All right, case closed. Ron P said it in the chat. All righty then, guys. That was the show for today. It was a good rip. Shouts out to Sophie. She's absolutely killing it. Actually, you guys in the chat kept saying Sophie needs her own show. Guys, she has her own show.
We're working
on the branding around her own show. She's going to be a regular content creator on our channel. She's going to be doing her own show soon. But today she is filling in for Rustin. So there will be a Sophie video dropped, I believe, in a few hours, probably around like 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you love Sophie, make sure you check it out on our channel.
And we're working on, like Opti said, my own show. We're working on the branding, so just be patient with us for a little bit because, you know, we don't want to scare off our male audience. It is 93.7% of you after all, so don't want to make it too girly. Don't want to make it a little weird for you guys to watch. So if you want to help me out, send my videos to your wives, ask them what they think, and, you know, see if it resonates with them. And if not, you know, I'll keep shilling to all you men, which is cool with me.
They say you need to go back into the closet, Sophie. They love the Sophie shows in the closet.
No, we don't go back in the closet. We go back to the kitchen.
Alrighty then, I fully endorse this. But that's where we got to go. That's where we have to end today's show. Love you guys. We will be back tomorrow. So as I told you in the beginning of the show, of course, Sophie's here with me today.
They're talking about when I did the
the old day.
I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. See, I was trying to make like a nerdy trad wife joke, but like, I love the closet days. Unfortunately, I think the closet days might be over, but we have something better in store for you guys.
Soon.
So just wait.
Soon.
Just wait.
Soon. Definitely soon. Yeah, like I was saying, so of course Sophie's here today. Nico, literally right when the show started, he left to get on a plane. He's going to Riga. I believe that's the Honey Badger conference, but he will be back tomorrow and he will do the show normally. He's going to zoom in from his hotel room in Riga, but of course the show goes on with or without me or Nico here. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
They allowed me to do it by myself the time that you guys were at the NASDAQ.
And you guys loved it. And it did a great
and we did so good. So the show will go on, I promise.
The show goes on.
Not exactly at 12:15, but, you know, sometime
around 12:30.
12:15-ish.
12, something like that. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, of course. As Sophie was saying, the whole show. Smash the like button, subscribe. We love you. We'll be back tomorrow.
And share the video with your friends.
Yeah, 100%.
Seriously, it's like the best thing that you can do to help us out with the YouTube algorithms is sending this to everybody you know.
Let's go. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Eat some good food. Call your loved ones. Go get some sun.
Touch some grass. Grounding. Very important for inflammation and mitochondrial flush.
All right, later, guys.
Bye.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.